morning, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. So, we're going to discuss She-Hulk. I think I blew a stop sign. And I moved when I did. Motherfucker just can't drive. Such a rush. Anyway, no, I'm backing out of my fucking driveway and someone blows a stop sign and almost hits me, so I had to very quickly pull back into my driveway, which is a fun little exercise in reaction time at first thing in the morning on your way to work. Lovely. So, we are here to discuss the 4th episode of She-Hulk, which I would have bet good money on would have been the return of Daredevil. I thought that would have been a good bet, if I'm being completely honest. Because, I think that... Well, yesterday was Disney Plus Day, because we're starting D23. I think today is the first full day of the convention, and at around 4 o'clock today, 3 o'clock today, Eastern Time, is the first of the big panels, which is the gaming panel, which is where they're going to have this big reveal thing, where they're going to talk about all of the new games they have coming, and that'll be cool. I want to see what they have coming, besides Marvel Knights and new Avengers content. If that's all they're bringing, I'm going to be very disappointed, but I think they're going to bring more. And I think the issue is they do Disney Plus Day before the convention starts. The day before the convention is Disney Plus Day. So yesterday they put Thor: Love and Thunder on Disney Plus, making its debut, and Pinocchio came out, and Pinocchio's been getting panned by critics, and it's just not being well received by anyone who has any taste in movies. I'm looking at this kind of in its broadest sense. It feels like this would have been the episode to debut Daredevil in, because you have eyes on Disney Plus. You have people are going to Disney Plus to see what's new, because you got this BTS thing, you got this, there's new documentaries, this thing Growing Up came out yesterday, you got a new Cars thing, and it's like, well, we have people going to Disney Plus, and here's all our new content on Disney Plus. The first look at Andor, you would have thought this would have been the week to debut Daredevil. Granted, this episode is also the funniest episode we've had so far. This is the, I'm not gonna debate that. This entire episode was definitely the funniest, with Wong grooving out to the Sopranos theme as he's been watching the Sopranos for the first time, and then the fucking party girl, Madison, who shows up and spoils it for. The whole thing is great. I think Madison's so funny every time she's on screen. It'd be really funny if she shows up in another movie. I don't think it's likely, but how great would that be? I know there's a lot of people out there who would be like, it wouldn't be great, but I'd be like, I like her character better than the fucking goats in Love and Thunder that everyone's like, oh my god, this is so funny. It's like, it's really not, though. It's just goats screaming. I don't know. So, what else was there? I'm starting to think that the show really is more villain of the week. Where what's it called? Case shows up, she helps with the case gets resolved, repeat next week. And again, the CG is not terrific. That's my biggest problem with the show, is that she always looks kind of not real. And it's like, I understand that the Hulk is not a real character, and I understand that these other things, but Thanos, when you watch Infinity War and Endgame, Thanos looks real. we know he's a CGI character, but he's indistinguishable from characters like Nebula, who are full body makeup. Or a character like Nebula, who's full body makeup. And the same goes for Hulk. It's like, Hulk is a human character, a humanoid character, but we can look at him and be like, oh, we know Hulk's not real, and yet when I see him on the show, he looks better, and I understand why. It's like Hulk had like he's had multiple movies to, create the character model and all of that, so it's just a matter of using that already created. And I think She-Hulk, the problem is they're still trying to get their footing on what She-Hulk looks like to do this, this show. And the thing is, too, it's like a lot of the times, it's like, does she really need to be She-Hulk in this scene? Like, I understand the plot of the show is like, we want her to be She-Hulk, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I just don't understand. Because, like, what fucking judge? If a judge is willing to throw... See, here's what I don't get about this, the legal aspect of this show. If we're watching, what's happened to Jen since the show started. In the first episode, she's giving closing statements, and she becomes She-Hulk, which ends up voiding the case because she saved the jury. Now, in the new case, she's going into every court case as She-Hulk, except for when she was dealing with Blonsky. But anytime she goes into court, she's She-Hulk. Wouldn't you consider that a liability if you're a law firm? I mean, I would. Like, fuck, I would consider that a major liability, because it's like, if I'm the defense attorney, I would appeal. Like, that would be my thing. If I'm the other attorney, I would appeal. I was like, look, she's a superhero. She's playing on that to get the jury's sympathy. Toss the case. It's just one of those things that's like, it's so stupid. And it's such a weird reason to be like, okay, so this is why she needs to be She-Hulk so much. And then at the same time, it's like, well, she really doesn't. Because, we went through Moon Knight. We went through Miss Marvel. We went through Falcon and the Winter Soldier, especially. Where Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a good amount of that show, they're not actually falconing or Winter Soldiering. Like, they are just Sam and Bucky doing things. Like, that I think is the thing I'm confused about, is that all of these other shows, we have these people who are like, we don't see them using their powers every second of the day. Like, Miss Marvel goes entire episodes about using her powers, and the same goes for, Bucky and Sam, and the same goes for, like, I think Wanda was the only one, but even that, Wanda's power use in the first few episodes is very heavily dependent on old-style visual effects. Like, it's all stuff that they could have done in a 1950s TV show. It's not designed to be like, oh, she's Scarlet Witch and she's doing all her Scarlet Witch stuff. It doesn't get real CGI heavy until you get to the third episode. I mean, there's some CGI, obviously, and there is some, what was the other one, where it's like the outside of the Hex, but still. And Loki, I think, was the biggest CGI heavy show of them all. But, like, if you look at, like, what these characters are, like, everything seems kind of grounded where they're trying to avoid big CGI expenses for the most part. And I feel like the only show to not have done that is She-Hulk, and I can't quite understand why. Was it a mandate from high up? Which I can't see that as a reason. Maybe it's just the fear that people wouldn't respond to a police procedure, like basically a legal procedural about Jen Walters. Maybe that was the fear. But I don't know. I mean, Moon Knight we got through, and there was very little actual Moon Knight. in that show for a good amount of the middle. It's just kind of strange to me, I think, that like fuck, I mean, at one point it's like he's in the suit, but it's like he's losing his powers, and he loses his powers for like an episode, and then he's on a ship for the second half of the episode, and then the second half of the episode is, they're wandering through a mental asylum, and they're going into doors and stuff like that, into other sets, and it's like, oh, well, that's, yeah, it's an effect, but it's not a bit, like, we aren't seeing, we're seeing, Stephen Grant, and we're seeing, what's his name, we're seeing, Mark Spector, but we're not seeing, Moon Knight, and that's kind of where I'm confused about all of this. That's kind of where I'm like, oh, this is kind of strange to me, I think, is this idea that this show is the one that needs to have She-Hulk on screen all the time, when the show would function just as well with just, what's it called, with just, with just Jen. And I feel like, too, there's a level of confidence that comes from Jen that, oddly, you don't get from She-Hulk. It's a really weird conundrum. I don't really know how to explain it besides that. That it's like, the best breaking the third wall lines that have happened on the show, breaking the fourth wall lines that have happened on the show, breaking the third wall, what the fuck am I talking about? Breaking the fourth wall lines that have happened on this show have been Jen, not She-Hulk. And it's just a weird thing to be like, okay, well, that's, it's such a weird thing. It's like She-Hulk doesn't really do too much besides exist. Like, this is the first episode. I mean, we got to see her fight in a small capacity in the last episode, and this one we see her fight in a small capacity when the demons invade, but we don't really see, and by the way, I am very tired of the fucking Mephisto theories. I am so fucking tired of the fucking Mephisto theories. If I never see the name Mephisto again, I will be very happy. I do not want to see Mephisto. I do not want to hear about Mephisto. Until Mephisto is on my screen, I do not give a shit about Mephisto. And it feels like Madison selling her soul to a demon to escape hell. And the demon, she said that she thought the demon's name was Jake. That feels like a, what's it called? That feels like an intentional tease that's going to amount to nothing. And people are like, wait, Jake? Maybe they're talking about Jack Scratch. He said he thought his name was Jake. And it's like, alright, shut the fuck up. We went through this for fucking WandaVision, where it's like every episode we were on fucking Mephisto watch. And I guess, okay, whatever. I mean, it was just it's infuriating after a certain point, if I'm being completely honest. Because it's like, number one, who gives a fuck? If the character gets introduced, the character gets introduced. And I just don't know. It is kind of, and it is great, like, there's gonna be a cameo from characters in every episode, and it's like, so far we've had Hulk, and Abomination in 2. We've had Hulk in 2, then Abomination in 2, and now Wong in 2. So, we getting Wong again next week? I don't think so, because that would not make sense. I think we get Daredevil next week, probably. But Wong's little pissing contest with Donnie Blaze is also great when they go to his office, and the guy who he works with, he's just repeating everything he says, and she's like, it's your job just to sit here and be his hype man, and that's great. And then also when he's like, I'm more mystical than you'll ever be, and he makes a ball disappear, and then Wong makes it pop out of his mouth when they're leaving. Like, it's it's a great sequence. And then there's also the one in the court. The courtroom is great too, where he keeps doing magic. And I guess it's like, how did you get smoke bombs in here? How did you get that past security? It is so funny. And I think that the show leading into the comedy aspect is what makes it work, and the kind of absurdity of the whole situation is what makes it work. Because to an extent, there is a legitimate legal, situation going on. Because with the advent of people with powers and the proliferation of people with powers, how do you handle people with powers in this world? It's a legitimate question that you need to look at broadly and be like, okay, so all of these people here now have powers and they have new abilities. And the legal question of can you trademark magic is a legitimate question. And I think the problem is you can. Legally, you can trademark magic. That's my disconnect with the show. Is that if you are a magician, or a stage magician, like Donnie Blaze on the show, or like David Copperfield or someone like that, they are trademarkable or copyrightable under copyrights on trade secrets. So technically but the thing is, it's like acknowledging, like, would that extend to actual magic and not just illusions performed on stage for the sake of monetary gain? Is a legitimate question, I think. But that's a question for another time, because they don't really address that here. What the fuck is going on here? Assholes, a bunch of them. So, I mean, this is, I think, my favorite episode so far of She-Hulk. And the little ending stinger with not the post credit scene with Wong and Madison hanging out watching The Sopranos. It's when Titania is suing Jen for use of the name She-Hulk. Because she's I like the idea that the bad guy on this show is going to be a trademark or a copyright troll. I like that idea, and it could make for some interesting fodder in later episodes. But yeah, because it makes it into something different. It's not going to be like, yes, there's going to be a sequence where her and Titania punch each other a lot, but I don't think that's going to be the ultimate fight of this show. I think the ultimate fight is going to be, I don't know where they could go where Titania could take some bigger step to fuck with her. That's the big question I have, is that what could Titania do to make this worse for her? And Jen's interaction with the guy who's delivering the subpoena is great too, or the lawsuit's great too, where he's like, he makes a snide comment. He goes, "Oh, are you a judge now?" And she slams the door in his face. Yeah, it's a pretty funny show. I think that there's a certain subset of fans that got turned off by episode 3 because I felt explicitly called out by the show. And to them I say, go fuck yourself. But whatever, the show's not bad. So go check out She-Hulk. It's on Disney+. I'll probably watch Pinocchio tonight and do a review tomorrow morning. Whoa. And then after that we will do, I don't know what. But I feel like there's definitely, more to do. It's a slow weekend. I think Warner Brothers fucked up the release schedule for the entire month of September. And we will see what else we can do between now and the end of the month. But I don't know what that would be. So, until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.